Well, let's see. A lot of languages that give you abstract data types don't really give you true polymorphism, and I think that's the difference.
I see. So it's really the message passing with the dynamically determined polymorphism.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I guess type declarations were one thing which we're going to talk about.
Yep. Smalltalk does not have any type declarations, nor does self. There isn't any reason that there can't be type declarations, I think. But it's a different situation. Conventional, strongly typed languages type according to what I would call concrete type. And in an object-oriented language, you can still assert type declarations, but what you want to assert is what I would call the abstract type. In other words, you want to assert that this is an object which understands the following protocol. And then if you do that, it gives you the same kind of security that people like to feel about code they've written, which is that you've asserted that all these things are so, and therefore the code shouldn't break for that reason. I think there's still a philosophical dispute over whether that solves the whole problem. You know, have you nailed down every possible leak if you have declared the type? And obviously that's not so, because you can have values that are out of range and all this other stuff.
So people who like writing type declarations would have to get used to writing more abstract declarations than they do now.
That's right, but I don't think it would be any problem. I actually did a type system once with Alan Borning for Smalltalk. It didn't turn out to be sound, but we did get a chance to use it, and it felt completely natural. And it added the kind of readability. People say that it makes code more readable because you know kind of what you can expect.
Sure.
And I think that's true to a certain extent.
Sure. Well, let's see, in the minute or two we have left, how about warning people off? There must be some situations where it's bad to use object-oriented programming, and perhaps in the interest of responsibility, we should just mention what those are before the tape ends.
Well, I don't think you'd want to pave your driveway with it. Now, there are certain things for which it's not good. Object-oriented programming is a style of imperative programming. So in my opinion, it's the best way to do imperative programming. If you consider something like rule-based programming, you would not use Smalltalk to do that. You could build a rule-based rule-based programming system in Smalltalk or in Self, but the programming you would do using it would be a different style of programming.
I see. Well, what about the people who are coupling, say, logic programming and object-oriented programming?
I think that makes a lot of sense. So, in other words, what they will do is where they need imperative statements in their logic programs, they'll use an object-oriented programming language. And I think that's appropriate. I also think that whenever possible to get by with just one language, you're that much simpler off.
Sure.
You're that much better off because things are more learnable and there's, you know, things are simpler. But at the same time, if you've got to talk about things two different ways, you better get appropriate languages for each.
Sure. Well, thanks very much.
Thanks, Dave.